guys, welcome to Clockwork Noodles. Welcome back to another Requiem of the Rose King episode. This is episode 17. We have 6 episodes to go before the end, and we finally have Richard the Fell on the throne. Welcome back, I'm Clockwork Noodles. We are aiming for 1k of subscribers by the end of the year because I want to start doing some live streams with you guys. I've got a few things I'm starting to plan, get some ideas together for when we are ready for it. We're going to be discussing anime themed, speak about things like the best anime of the season. If you do like what I am doing, please make sure you are subscribed. It really does help me out, and it is a great way to know that I'm doing the right thing. You guys do seem to watch this video. This is one of those series I had to continue because it had such a big following. It ended up being like double the amount of views, so I continued it for you guys. It's still doing very well. It does seem to get the most views from all of the videos I'm doing, so do make sure you are subscribed. But let's get going because a lot happens this week. We need to break it down to understand how things are moving, all of these type of things. So initially, the first thing we do see is Elizabeth's marriage being debased. If Edward was already technically married, Elizabeth can't be married to a married man. That would sadly also mean that Edward is adulterous. Thankfully for him, he is already dead, so he can't be called upon these charges. However, do note that it is Buckingham who had Catesby testify to the legitimacy of this, but it is false. There's no actual evidence for this. We just need to debase Elizabeth. So if Elizabeth is now illegitimate as a wife, both of her sons are no longer in the way of the true heir. Both of the princes are removed. They are basically placed in the tower initially. For the moment, they're just arrested. Most of us know about the incident of the princes in the tower, which I think they're going to have the Lucifer character sort out next week, perhaps. We'll talk about Lucifer when we get there. I don't know the character's real name, so for now, it is just going to be Lucifer. For now, the princes are in a tower and Richard is being coronated without them being in the way. It is still very risky though, because there is a divide, because there could still be support for Edward V. It is very risky having the princes in a tower whilst they're still alive. There could still be a civil war outbreak. You could have Edward versus Richard. Even in jail, they are technically threats. Richard's mother, however, is still the biggest threat. Starts to spread the rumours once again. Really, this woman should have been sorted out many years back. I'm surprised that she's still going. I did state that I'm very shocked that she's still alive. Her throwing these rumours around against even a prince could have her in trouble, but she's simply allowed to do it. Again, we have these rumours of the demon flying around like crazy, and England is superstitious. We've spoken about it many times. This is a very bad time to be considered a demon. Demons can be burnt at the stake. Richard could be burnt at the stake if people were really believing that Richard was a demon. So what we now see is a very good farce of a performance. We have Richard wearing the white. White is a holy, pure, innocent colour. It is there to deceive the crowd, to place no doubt that Richard is holy and innocent and very godly. It's also interesting to note that in these colours, Richard looks very similar to the outfit that Henry would normally wear. But it is one hell of a farce of a performance. I think Shakespeare himself would be clapping. Richard would have still been a legitimate heir. Very easy to overlook with all of this is Richard is a legitimate heir. Even if people don't like them as a character, don't like them as a monarch, Richard is legitimate. Richard is that third son that Daddy Richard had. The heckling mother could have risked being done for slander, let alone maybe treason if a push against the prince. Her heckling out in the open was a very risky move, and I'm still shocked that she does get away with it at the end and she's still alive by the end of this episode. But yeah, Richard did look very similar to Henry wearing that white. It was also a stretch to think that the crowd could understand a word that Buckingham was even saying. Buckingham wasn't really shouting loud enough at times. The performance itself, at a stretch, you can make me believe that everybody in the front row maybe heard what was going on. Richard needs to become the light, be seen as something godly. The crowd initially is threatened with the idea of more war, and this is a country which has already suffered a lot. War of the Roses, it spans over 30 years, way over 30 years. So you can imagine how tired a country must be after 30 years of war. We've had parents losing children, children losing their parents. So very slowly, Buckingham is very cleverly orchestrated, turning the crowd towards Richard, seeing Richard as a saviour from war. We don't want a war. Richard isn't going to be like that. Eventually, the best result is achieved. Crowd is the one begging Richard to become the king. It is the will of the people that Richard should be crowned. Buckingham in the first scene did state the king's body belonged to England. The English people are demanding that King Richard should be crowned. Richard III finally enters the throne, and we're finally on to that play by Shakespeare. Of course, this does mean that the story is slowly nearing its conclusion now that Richard is the king. There's only sadly one way to go. We do see Queen Anne. We haven't seen Anne for quite a while. She finally gets to resurface. Been a very long time. It doesn't actually state how long it's been, but the son, I think the son is Edward. They're a lot older by this point. The son must be like 12, 13. Definitely older than the two princes who have been imprisoned. The treatment of Anne in this story is perhaps one of the biggest artistic liberties, far from what happened in real life. All of this is just being orchestrated in a way that I have a feeling I know where they're going, and obviously that does allow the jealous feelings with Buckingham starting to rise up. We do get some very interesting foreshadowing with the play. Now we have Lucifer. Lucifer once was a right-hand angel to God, right by God's side, and eventually Lucifer fell from grace, fell from God's side, ended up trying to outshine God and then failing. The character who is playing Lucifer is there to try and represent Richard, and Richard as that demon. It is very dangerous that Richard does allow this play to continue. It's very dangerous because the entire court right now is very uneasy. Everybody's uneasy about what's just happened. There are people who probably do have those rumours burnt into the back of their minds and they're trying to ignore it, and then you're suddenly playing Lucifer, who basically goes up against God. Showing the similarities with Richard, everybody's going to be on the edge of the seats. Edward is now our crown prince. He is the legitimate heir to the throne. Despite the fact us, the audience, we know who Edward's dad is. I do think Richard definitely knows who Edward's dad is, because we are told that the night they spend together is technically their first night, according to Richard. There's going to be some legitimacy issues with the way that this retelling has shown everything, because there wasn't any of this in the real line of things. First night between Anne and Richard doesn't actually occur. Buckingham is too jealous to even stick around to actually find out and see that. This is dangerous because Buckingham's jealousy is definitely going to be the end of Richard. We've got a lot of bad things already coming up against Richard, who has only recently just sat on the throne. The throne is barely warm, and bad things are already starting to circulate and come back at Richard. Buckingham is definitely going to destroy what he created. Lucifer is the same guy who killed George. I don't know the proper name for this character. We may as well just call him as Lucifer. Lucifer is, of course, another name for the devil, Satan. We do see Lucifer outright murdering the entire performance troupe. We are told that the second night of Banqueting is going to be different. Richard is setting it up to make sure that people don't see it as just this would have been Edward V's coronation, and Richard is about to plan their own party, and I think Lucifer is about to come back with a second act, which isn't going to be a good thing. So the end is already upon us, despite even just beginning. It's going to be an interesting 6 more episodes now, showing us the downfall of Richard III. It's an interesting episode. A lot of things are now shuffling. We've got a lot of things now setting up. Sad that Anne and Richard can't bridge the gap. Anne says it's been too long, it's too late. Richard in their own minds as well is like, it's too late, it's not going to happen. Which is sad, because initially Anne was that first crush. Anne was that first flower of hope that Richard initially had. Sad that this is what it has come to. It's sad seeing how Richard overlooked Edward. Richard knows who the true dad is, but Edward is still a child, and Edward wanted to say goodnight to his mum and dad. Edward loves his parents, and that is quite sad to see how that's being overlooked and overplayed, and I do feel sad for him. Thank you guys again for tuning in. I hope you had a good weekend, and I hope you have a good week planned for you guys as well. I will see you again next week, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and staying supportive. It really does mean a lot after the week I have had. One day I will tell you guys more about what has happened, but for now, thank you so much. I will see you again soon. Bye bye.